Hello, how is everybody out there today? My name's Tracy Di Bartolo and I'm a Thermomix consultant here in McLaren Vale. I am today doing ice cream. So for those of you who have been watching my videos either on Facebook or on my YouTube channel, you will maybe have seen me making some condensed milk, and I made mention about what you could do with condensed milk afterwards instead of the normal slices and things like that. But I am choosing to use it to make ice cream. So this session is all about ice cream and the different ingredients that you need for ice cream, and also where you can get your ice cream recipes from. So I'll start with the ingredients. There's basically 3 different methods, if you like, of making ice cream in your Thermomix without an ice cream maker. So I guess I'll make that point firstly. I don't own an ice cream maker. So if you do, that's fantastic, but I don't. So I'm using just my Thermomix and my freezer. All right, so the first method is to use a combination of condensed milk, some extra virgin olive oil, and cream. So that's your basic recipe. Then on top of that, you can just leave it as vanilla, so put in some vanilla bean paste, or you can opt to add different ingredients like chocolate, or you could do fruit, so raspberries, cherries, limes, anything like that, depending what flavour you are after. Or you can even make a salted caramel one. That's just a few examples. There are many, many others. Okay, so that's actually the method that I'm going to be using today. The condensed milk, the olive oil, and the cream. Okay, the next method is to use predominantly cream, but with the added of eggs. So what I found when I've been doing my research over the last few months is that some recipes only ask for a couple of eggs. So for instance, the honey ice cream on cookie dough only has 2 eggs, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing is that you can see recipes with 4 eggs, 6 eggs, even up to 8 eggs. So it really depends on you experimenting and finding one that you like. I'm actually really happy with the recipe that only has 2 eggs, because then it also has honey in it, and those combinations seems to go really well, and you get a lovely smooth ice cream. Some of the varieties of flavours that you might do with eggs, other than the honey, you can do chocolate, salted caramel, rum and raisin. You can even use fudge. So if you've made fudge and got a bit left over, you can add your fudge in. I haven't tried that yet, but I might do because I made fudge yesterday. The other option is to do a fruit-based one. So it's fruit, sugar, cream. One of the popular ones that I do is mango with that version. Okay, so I'm going to start doing the condensed milk, olive oil, cream, one that I was talking about. Now, this recipe, I've adapted it from Recipe Community. And I'll go on in a minute to talk about the different resources that you can use to get your recipes. So I found one that was suitable on Recipe Community, and with the TM6 we're able to bring that recipe from Recipe Community over into my own personal cookie dough. From there you can change ingredients, you can change methods, flavors, all of that sort of stuff. So I've done that, and I have added it to my week for today. This one is called Amarula ice cream with the condensed milk, so that reminds me that that's the method that I'm using. Today I'm not going to use Amarula, I'm going to experiment with something else, just because I can. So for those of you who've got a TM6, if you haven't experimented with bringing in recipes from Recipe Community or even from Cookie Dough, it saves you from having to type it all out yourself. Most of the work is done. You import it, if you like, into your created recipes section of your cookie dough, and then you can make any changes that you want and then have it on your machine with all of your steps in place. It's really brilliant. There's tutorials on Cookie Do if you want to have a look at it, or if you want to send me a message, I can probably steer you in the right direction. If you're one of my customers, I'd love to come and do a Cookie Do session with you to get you up to speed. All right, so I'm going to start cooking, and the first few steps in this recipe that I've built myself is to make the condensed milk. But yesterday on a session, I made condensed milk. So here it is in a jug, ready to go. Look at that beautiful condensed milk goodness. So I'm going to skip through the first few steps, which is just the machine wanting to make the condensed milk. So I will just keep going with that. So that's it, just a couple of steps. You pour it out into a jug and let it cool off. And while you're waiting for it to cool off, you're going to progress with the next steps. So we're going to add the butterfly. I'm going to pop it in here and just show you how the butterfly should look. So when you put the butterfly in, if you give it a little wiggle and it only moves a little bit, then that's in the right spot. If I take it out and I put it the other way and I wiggle it, it wiggles quite a lot. So my tip would be, put it in the area where it's only wiggling a little bit. It doesn't lock into place, it just sits there, okay? So using the same jug, so if you've made your condensed milk, you just pour it out into a jug. You don't have to clean the bowl, so that's a beautiful thing. Now you just put in your butterfly whisk, and then the next step is to add the cream. So I'm just going to click on here and it's going to weigh it out for me. So 600 of cream. Now, the thing with whipping cream is you don't actually know exactly how long it's going to take. There is a variable there because cream over time, as it gets closer and closer to its use by date, it whips quicker. You must always make sure that you use a cream that is 35% fat or more, otherwise it won't whip. So just take care when you're buying your cream to buy the one that is suitable for whipping, all right? Otherwise you will whip and whip and whip and nothing will happen. We don't want that. All right, so cream is in there with my butterfly, and I'm going to just close that down. Lid on and the measuring cup on. I've got it preset for 30 seconds to begin with, and always on speed 4. Never more than speed 4 when you've got your butterfly in. So hopefully that's something that when you got your delivery demo that was, you were reminded of that. If not, I'm reminding you now. So speed 4, I'm going to turn it on, and hopefully you can still hear me. You've really got to listen. You can tell when it's still liquidy, and as time goes on and the cream is just starting to thicken, you'll hear a slight change. You might not be able to hear it, but I can hear that it's getting thicker and thicker. If you're ever not sure, just touch the button and it will stop it. And either lift the lid or take the lid off, it doesn't matter. So that was not quite 30 seconds, and you can see that already the cream is starting to thicken. What we're after is we just want the cream to start thickening, so you get that kind of hole in the middle and it's just coming up the sides of the bowl. I am going to put that on for a little bit more. So that was just under 30 seconds, 26 seconds to be precise. I'm going to touch the button with the time, and I'm just going to increase it by another 15 seconds and go back, speed 4 again, and listen. I'm going to stop it again because I can hear that it's getting thicker and thicker. Let's have a look. Right, so we are so close. You see how it's starting to go up the side walls of the bowl? And it's actually, that's probably enough. See, it's not even coming off of the spoon. It's stuck to the spoon. The trickiest thing about making ice cream and whipping of the cream is do not over whip your cream. It is so easy to do. And as I said, if you have got cream that's just about to expire, really keep a close eye on that one, because in 15 or 20 seconds, it could already be starting to turn into butter. And I don't have another tub of cream with me today, so I don't need to do butter today. I need it to be whipped cream. Lovely. Okay, so there we go. Just whipped is what you want, not over whipped. Fantastic. All right, next step. And on here, I've copied it over from the recipe community, as I said, and it does say, like, keep checking it and ensure that it's just soft peaks. Don't overdo it because you don't want to have butter on your hands. Okay, next step is, it says to add the saved, cooled, condensed milk. So this is my batch that I made yesterday and put it into the fridge, just covered over. So if you're making your own condensed milk, you've got to remember that there are no preservatives in it at all. So the idea is to use it up as soon as possible. This is thickened really nicely. And when I made the condensed milk yesterday, you're invited to go back and look at my videos that I did yesterday. I opted to use a combination of brown sugar and dark brown sugar instead of the raw sugar. And that just gives it a much darker colour, which is what I was after in this ice cream recipe today. But again, you can do it to suit whatever you're going to be using it for afterwards. Okay, so, and the recipe, it doesn't really make it clear, I don't think, on Cookie Doo, the condensed milk recipe, doesn't make it clear that it is actually makes exactly the same quantity as a tin. So your 395 grams, 400 grams, whatever it is. It talks about portions, which I think is a bit confusing, but I know from having done it many times that it is the same as a tin. Very quick and easy, 3.5 minutes and it's done, which is fantastic. Okay, so I have added the condensed milk, and then it says to add the extra virgin olive oil, which I have already pre-weighed, so I'm just going to pop that in. And it's a bit weird. The first time I made it with the olive oil, I was a bit doubtful as to whether it was going to work, but it does work, strangely enough. My tips would be, don't use any olive oil that's really overpowering, so get a nice light and make sure it's extra virgin olive oil. The other ingredient that this recipe's got, is being the amarula one, is amarula, but I'm not going to use amarula today. I'm experimenting, as I said. So in this jug, I have got some limoncello. Oops, wrong way. There you go. From a local winery not far from us. So a little bit of a free plug for Watkins Winery. And they also do limoncello. And I'm going to pop the limoncello in. I have decreased the amount of limoncello from what I would have used amarula, because I'm just not sure how it's going to taste, and I don't want it to be too overpowering. If it just has a hint of the lemon, then that's fine by me. All right, in that goes. And I'm going to put the lid back on, and we're going to start with, make sure that your butterfly is still in there. We're going to start with 20 seconds on speed 3. And that's another reason why we don't want to over whip the cream, because we're going to be whipping it a little bit again. Yes, with the other ingredients, so we don't want to overdo it. I'm going to have a look through the whole. Really, all we need to do is to combine all the ingredients nicely. So I've stopped that with 5 seconds to go. So that was 15 seconds, and I can see that all the ingredients have combined beautifully. And I'll just give the sides a bit of a scrape, make sure. So at this point it's quite runny, so don't be put off by that. The other thing to talk about, I'm just going to set that aside and I'll talk about the different, where can I put it where it's not too annoying? Okay, right there. I'm going to just talk about the different methods as well. So before I talked about your ingredients, so that was the one with the condensed milk and the olive oil, the other one with cream, eggs, sugar and some flavourings, and another version with fruit and cream. Okay, it comes down to a couple of different ways that you can freeze the ice cream. So some of the recipes, usually the ones that use the cream and eggs, you need to freeze it twice. So after you've gone through and you've got it in your bowl, what you need to do is you need to find a flat container. So this is my little hint and tip for you, that through months of trying to get the ice cream back out of here in chunks and making a mess of it, I worked out that if I just got a plastic container with a lid, you know, your $2.50, $3 job from whatever, browsing, cheapest chips, then you got a freezer bag, one of the large freezer bags, and you pop that in there like so. Okay, so what we're going to do is pour. We're not going to do it with this one, but if you were using a method that you had to pour it into a shallow tin, this is what I recommend you do. So pour it into here. You would put your lid on so it seals. If you don't have a lid, it's not a big deal. You can just put a bit of the plastic film on top, so a little bit of the freezer bag on top if you wanted to. And then you find somewhere in your freezer that this will just sit flat and freeze it overnight. That's my recommendation. The next step in the ice cream in the recipe on the Thermomix is that you cut this up into chunks, put it back into the bowl, and effectively you churn it, and then you put it into your container that you're going to be serving it out of later, okay? So keep that in mind. If you come across a recipe that you'd have to do it flat in a shallow container, try using the method with that, because then all you need to do is you can pull that out, and it's just so much easier than to try and get it out of the container. So there you go. That's my tip from me to you if you decide to do ice cream down the track. Okay, the next, some of the recipes don't need you to do that overnight, and this is one of the recipes. It means you don't have to make it, freeze it flat, bring it back in, churn it, put it into a container and freeze it again overnight. With this method, you simply make it and then you put it into a container. Now, what containers, you ask? The Mix Shop. I haven't even said it yet, and I've been going for how long? And I haven't said the Mix Shop yet. The Mix Shop has amazing items, and one of those is the ice cream tubs. They're plastic, but they're obviously high quality plastic, and they don't bend at all. So they're thick, which means that they freeze really well, and it stops too much icicles, because icicles is what is going to make your ice cream not so nice. You're after a creamy texture, not that icy sort of texture. And I've had a few that have come out icy and thought, right, well, I'm not doing that one again. Okay, so with these tubs, you can buy them singly. They come with a silicone lid. On it goes. I press it sort of down in the middle so that the air comes out. And I even write in texter just on there what is inside, because then I can just scrub it off afterwards. So you can buy them singly, or you can buy them in a pack of 2, like so. And the other, this is what I actually love, these, because it fits in my freezer really well. See how it's a oblong sort of shape, so it fits in the compartment of my freezer better. So this is made by Tavolo, which is a very well respected Italian brand, and it is available on the Mix Shop as well in various colours. So there's 3 parts to it. There's this outside, then you've got the inner part, and that clicks in like that. I'm going to pour off the ice cream into here and then put the lid on. So I'm going to do that now while I'm chatting, and I wonder what's going to happen with all of this yummy goodness on here. I know that you're going to guess. Out of camera, I'm sure that something will happen to that. Okay, so in we go. I'm going to pour this in. And the other reason that I really love these containers is it's just exactly the right amount for the ice cream that I've made. So that's always a bonus. And if you have got a little bit left, if you think that there's a little bit that won't quite fit in, just put it into a little plastic container, a separate one in the freezer, and that's the one that you would eat first. Okay, but I will do that afterwards. So there is our ice cream ready to go into the freezer. Put my lid on and, oh, maybe I should put it on the right way. There we go. Okay, so that is a double-walled container. So when that goes in the freezer, it will keep your ice cream from going crystallized, which is what we're after. And I've got, pity you can't taste, hey? I've got a example. This is actually the Amarula one that I made a few days ago. And I have a confession to make. I realized that I forgot to put the olive oil in. So I've tasted it a couple of times, and it tastes perfectly okay. So it's this recipe, the Amarula ice cream recipe, but I forgot to put in the virgin olive oil. Honestly, it turned out fine. So I'll be interested to try the two different ones and see the difference of the taste. I'm going to finish off by telling you that there are lots and lots of resources for you to find ice cream recipes. If you're in Australia and you've got Cookie Doo, you can go to Cookie Doo. If you just type in ice cream in the browser, there's over 500 results of different ice creams. If you go to Recipe Community, so that is an open platform, anybody can look in there and it costs you nothing. I typed in ice cream and I got 350 results. The other place you can find ice cream recipes, there are some amazing recipe developers here in Australia. I started my journey because of this lady, Tanina Holder. So Tanina, this is a free plug for you, my darling, because I love this book. It's called The Weekend Table. Tanina doesn't know me from Adam. So it's just me saying to you that this is a great book. And she has a whole chapter on ice cream. There's also, you can get Tanina's recipe for the condensed milk virgin olive oil recipe. It is free on her website. Just Google it and put in Tanina, T-E-N-I-N-A, Holder, and the condensed milk extra virgin olive oil ice cream, and up comes the recipe with the ingredients and the method. So thank you, Tanina. That is beautiful of you to do that. She also does an amazing recipe called Killer Vanilla. So that is not free. That is why I bought that book, because it is simply, hands down, the most beautiful ice cream ever, but very unusual. And it's made using egg whites. You really need to either, buy the recipe from her, however. But it's a great way of using up all those egg whites that you've used for previous recipes. And I collect them into little containers and freeze them. Just label them with the date and whether it's 1 egg, 2 eggs, whatever, whites. Pop them in the freezer, and then when you're ready to make the Killer Vanilla, you bring them out. You need about 200 grams of the egg whites plus other ingredients, which I won't tell you. And it makes fantastic. So again, saving on, rather than just throwing them away or putting them in the fridge and then thinking I'm going to use them and then you never do, pop them in the freezer and then you can use them for that, or even to make meringues and pavlovas and things like that. The other recipe developer who is also very well known is Elise Alexandra. So she's another good one. I haven't actually tried any of her ice cream recipes, so I can't, vouch for them. Or Nick from Skinny Mixes. She's got a free recipe on her website, the vanilla ice cream recipe. All right, I've taken up enough of your time. Please go and try the ice cream. It is so simple, so much better, I believe, than the store-bought one. It's right up there with the very expensive, 1 litre containers that cost, I don't even know what they cost. What do they cost? Somebody can put a comment on there. Tell me how much they cost. and I can guarantee you that this will be cheaper and every bit as nice, if not more. The only thing with the ice cream, the homemade ice cream, is don't leave it in your freezer for months and months. Tanina mentions in her book that, you know, it's at its best. Leave it for a day or two so that the flavors develop, but then if you can eat it within the week, that's perfect. Anything up to a month is still okay, but I wouldn't leave it in there forever and ever. But that's okay. You only make like a litre or a litre and a half at a time, so it's quite easy to get through, let me tell you. All right, that's it. I talk a lot, I know, I'm sorry. Bye. Thank you for joining me.